Welcome back to the MMA Business Hour, everyone. In today's episode, we are going to discuss the MMA Guru's picks for Las Vegas 77, Holm versus Bueno Silva. But first, don't forget, I'm giving away this Stipe Miocic autograph photo. All you have to do is go into the comments, write the word subscribe, and you'll be entered in the contest if we get over 4,000 subscribers. All right, now, into the video.
Up the card, Terrence McKinney versus Nazim Sadikov. This is an interesting fight. I like Terrence McKinney here because as much as I rated Evan Elder's performance against Nazim Sadikov, I feel like he telegraphed quite a bit of his shots, and he did catch Nazim Sadikov with a really good shot, don't get me wrong. He caught him in round one of that fight, I believe, and dropped him, if I remember it correctly. I feel like if Terrence McKinney catches you in a fight, it's problems, and I think that Terrence McKinney has a much higher chance of catching you in a fight than Evan Elder does. I mean, let's not forget about Terrence McKinney. He KO'd Matt Frevola in round one immediately into the fight. Like, this isn't like, you know, he beat a couple schmucks and now he's losing to a couple schmucks.
Yeah, Terrence McKinney is a really good fighter. And I think some of his recent struggles have been not necessarily who he is as a fighter. Him knocking out Matt Frevola. Frevola has been on an absolute tear lately. With the Drew Dober knockout was absolutely epic. He's so incredibly tough. I do like Terrence McKinney here, but I don't know if his ground game is going to be good enough to win this fight.
He beat some quite legit level competition and took it to Drew Dober pretty well as well. Bonfirm got him because Bonfirm was composed and McKinney just sort of fell apart as soon as things started not going his way as much. But I think that Nazim Sadikov is...
That's another thing about Terrence McKinney. That, like, I don't know if I want to put a bet on him this week because he does have a little bit of quit in him. When things don't go his way, he kind of looks for a way out in the fight. And that could play out in this fight. So that's why I'm not really wanting to bet on this particular bout. But the odds have it about right. It's a pretty close fight.
Grapper. Bonfirm is very technical with what he does. He doesn't just go swinging for the fences. He throws a lot of feints and catches you with counter shots, and then he'll start his engage. I feel like Nazim is a bit of a forward momentum guy if he starts getting some momentum, and I think he could run into something really nasty from Terrence McKinney if he starts coming in the way he was doing against Evan Elder. So
you have to worry about Terrence McKinney getting tired in this fight. So if it goes past the first round, this might be a fight where we bet the live line. And if we see a switch on Terrence McKinney where he starts to get tired, he could lose momentum in this fight and end up losing a decision.
If it gets scrappy, I'm going to trust that Terrence McKinney can find a KO, maybe with a knee, maybe with a 1-2 down the pipe. I'm not sure what to go with. I'm worried that he is coming off a KO loss, but it has been 6 months, and he is young, and he did smoke a bunch of other opponents. Fressiam's no joke. You know, Fressiam is 13-4. He's a good opponent. He's coming off a win now since. He's fighting Jai Herbert soon. He beat Luigi Vendramini, Jamie Malarkey, Mikhail Figlak, who was a decent prospect at the time. He also beat Yassin Belhaj. I know that name. I'm going to go with Terrence McKinney here. I do worry that maybe he'll be exposed again and be an absolute nothingness in that division, but I'm going to have to go with him to win this one. Nazim seems a little too easily here. Moving on.
See, I like Nazim in this fight. I don't think the MMA Guru is considering how bad Terrence McKinney is on the ground. And if Nazim takes him down, I don't see McKinney getting up. He's going to get broken. I'm going to go against the MMA Guru in this one.
Moving on. Up the card. Ottoman Azaitar versus Francisco Prado. This is an interesting one. I think I'm going to have to go with Prado, you know. This is a fight. I'm not just trashing Ottoman Azaitar. I know I made fun of him for the whole potato thing, the potato smuggling thing that he did on Fight Island, but I think I've got to go with Prado here. Prado's a lethal guy early on. He's lethal early on. He's got condition.
I'm going to have to disagree with the MMA Guru again. I think Ottoman Azaitar gets it done. I think his ground game is going to be too much. I want to hear why the MMA Guru is picking Prado in this fight. We know he's dangerous in the beginning of the fight. He might blow his load early, and then Azaitar can grab a hold of him and use his ground game to get a finish. We'll see what happens.
As well, He was dangerous for all 3 rounds against Malarkey, but he just couldn't find the KO win. But before that, I mean,
Malarkey's garbage.
KO punch win against a 13-3 opponent. Ground and pound win, 6-0. First round submission, 21-15. It was a cam, whatever. 8-2 guy, KOs him in the second round. Armbar in the first round, KO in the first round. Rear naked choke second round. Guillotine first. Submission first. Triangle first. KO first. This guy is a finisher, and he starts fast and has wicked hand speed. So I think after seeing what happened to Ottoman Zaitar against Matt Frivola, where he got KO'd quite badly, I think he's going to be a bit gun-shy. I don't think I'm going to trust him as much in the exchanges coming off that KO loss. Remember, he's not a young guy, 33 years of age, and he's just been flatlined for the first time in his career. Before that, he must have had so much confidence, and I think, let me know.
This is MMA. People get caught all the time, and Matt Frivola has a ton of power. So I don't necessarily think for him getting knocked out one time that he's just going to completely be a different fighter. This might actually be a benefit to fighting a guy like Prado because he can change his game plan up a little bit and not get in these wild exchanges where you can get caught. He might work in the clinch and try to get takedowns as opposed to striking with him in the middle of the octagon.
I'm wrong. Ottoman Zaitar's confidence that he was undefeated carried him in a lot of fights because he would just go for the KO in the first round. I've never been proven wrong. I'm going to do this every single time I fight. He had a bunch of KOs in a row. But Francisco Prado's lethal. Dangerous in the first round. I think he's going to be more confident than Ottoman Zaitar going into this fight because he had a decent showing for himself against Malarkey. He lost, but it wasn't a bad showing, and I think
Malarkey is not good.
On less than ideal circumstances. I'm going to check that right now. I don't know why they would. Yeah, he did. He stepped up in place of Nasrat Hakparast on short notice and still lasted distance with Jamie Malarkey, who we've seen wear and break people down in that division. So I think he's got the heart, danger early on. I think he's going to be more confident in the pocket than Zaitar, and I think he's going to result in a first round KO for him. We move on. Up the card.
I do not agree with the MMA Guru at all in this fight. I think Ottoman Zaitar is going to be the way the storm from Prado and just put it to him for all 3 rounds and get a decision for Ottoman Zaitar. All right, here we go.
On versus Chelsea Chandler. I'm going to have to go with Norma Jamont. She's way more proven than Chelsea Chandler. Chelsea Chandler's not proven whatsoever. What more is there to...
Yeah, I watched a lot of Chelsea Chandler interviews this week, and she seems so confident for someone who doesn't have a lot of experience. So we'll have to see how that plays out, but I agree with the MMA Guru about Norma Jamont. She is like the number 2 ranked flyweight in the world right now. She's really, really talented, and she's fought everybody. She's a really good fighter. I think she gets the W here. Let's see what MMA Guru has to say.
Today, Chelsea Chandler fought in the UFC in October of 2022. Got a win over Julia Stoliarenko, who's one of her most notable wins is over Miss Jessie Jess. Other than that, she lost to Alexis Davis, Julia Avila, Yana Santos, and now Chelsea Chandler. So I'm not going to rate that win too highly, to be honest with you. I'm going to have to go with Norma Jamont because she's literally had decent scraps with decent level competition. She beat Carol Rosa, Danielle Wolf, whatever, beat her over 3 rounds, dominated that fight. Macy Chasson, whatever you say, was beating Irene Aldana before Irene Aldana landed that shot to the liver from on bottom. Like probably 8 or 7 out of 10 times she wins that fight against Aldana, and she got caught at the end.
She would have got a title shot.
And Norma went to a split decision with her. So Chasson's a decent level bantamweight. Aspinlad was decent. She's beaten a lot of like known decent level women's fighters. You know, I'm gonna have to trust her to win, especially over Chelsea Chandler. What have you done? What have you proven? How do I pick you here? Obviously not. We move on.
The next fight is a middleweight bout between Albert Duraev and Jun Young Park.
I'm gonna go with Albert Duraev. I like Jun Young Park, but Duraev beat Roman Kopylov. And I know at the time we said, but Kopylov looked good in the 3rd round. I don't know. But Kopylov has gone on to prove that he's literally like a middleweight Piotr Jan coming up right now. Like, he's on a 2-fight win streak since that fight. He looked amazing against Alessio De Chirico, wearing him down, breaking him down, piecing him up in that 3rd round. And then he put it on Punelli Soriano and finished him in the 2nd round as well. And Punelli Soriano is dangerous. KO puncher, and this guy's taking it to him and finishing him in the second round. So I've got to go with Duraev. That win over Roman Kopylov has aged very well, and I don't like the split decision from Yun Yong Park against Eric Anders at the end of the day. If I'm going to be proven that you're a little bit ahead of some other level opponents, I need to see you do a bit better against Eric Anders. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you fit right in. He was doing great against Gregory Rodriguez, got caught on the chin and got standing TKO'd. But since then, when he's had some impressive performances, no doubt he's had some impressive performances, but the opponents that he's done it against, they've got like massive weaknesses in their game, right? Joseph Holmes had an absolute weakness on the ground that was not addressed. We found out that there's a massive weakness there because Yun Yong Park is just a jack of all trades that can find out what's wrong with your game. We get Dennis Talulin. Obvious problem on the ground. Decent striker, pusher pace, great. Looked good against Jamie Pickett. But we see on the ground a little bit of a different story. He didn't have any answers for Yun Yong Park down there. So I don't think Duraev's going to be exposed on the ground here early on. I think if anyone wins the grappling early on, it's going to be him, in Duraev, that is. And I think he's a little bit better on the stand-up side of things. I rate a close win over Chidi Njokuani more than I do a close win over Eric Anders. Even though I do believe that Yun Yong Park won that fight against Anders clearly, it was a close fight. And I rate a win over Chidi Njokuani a lot more than that, even though that was a very close win. Chidi Njokuani's dangerous, and Duraev at least kept himself out of danger on the feet in that fight as much as he could and tried to keep up with the strikes. So I've got to go Duraev here. I think he's a little bit more dangerous in more areas of the fight than Yun Yong Park, and I think his finishing potential is way higher. And I'm gonna, in the heavier weight classes, I'm gonna start valuing finishing potential a little bit more, I think.
I like Albert Duraev in this fight too. He's the more complete fighter. He's got a good ground game. He's got solid power for TKO potential. And Park is I just think he's a mediocre fighter. Eric Anders, as we've seen, has been like Mr. Mediocre for his whole career. So I'm going with Albert Duraev here. I'm going to agree with the MMA Guru. All right, on to the next fight.
We move on. Up the card, Holly Holm versus Mayra Bueno Silva. I was going to go Mayra Bueno Silva before, but Holly Holm is probably the pick that I'm going to have to make. 5-rounder for Mayra Bueno Silva. I don't know if she has the cardio for it. She has slowed down in fights before. She gave a good fight to Manon Fiorot, but she did get beaten unanimously there. But she did push Manon Fiorot quite a bit. But Holly Holm is a big woman. She's very athletic still. And she knows how to, like, cheat her way through a fight. Not cheat, but, like, she's not beating women up nowadays. She's, like, holding against a cage, getting half guard, doing what she knows she needs to do to win. And after her last fight against Yana Santos, she's staying active since then. Before that, she had an 8-month layoff. Before that, she had a year layoff. Before that, she had another 9-month layoff. And now she's staying active. That tells...
I agree with the MMA Guru here that Holly Holm is fighting a lot more, so that means she has to be healthy. But he's also right in the fact that Holly Holm doesn't beat girls up anymore. I mean, she is like the decision queen. I think like 7 out of her last 8 fights have all ended in decision. I mean, Mayra Bueno Silva's best chance to win this fight is on the ground. Her submission game is far superior, and she looks in great shape. So if she doesn't get tired, she has a serious chance of winning this fight, because I don't think she has to worry about like necessarily getting hurt by Holly Holm. She hasn't hurt anyone in a really long time.
She hasn't got any injuries, and she's hungry right now, and she's in shape, and she's ready. I like that. If I see a long layoff with an older fighter, I'm like, what? Why were you on a long layoff? If I see a short notice turnaround from an old fighter, that tells me they just had a great training camp and they're not injured. So I'm going to go with Holly Holm. Confident in her. I think Mayra Bueno Silva's dangerous, but I don't think she's dangerous enough on the feet. And that's where I think she's going to have to win this one, by catching Holly Holm with something, because I don't see her submitting Holly Holm. I think Holly Holm can decide where this fight goes more than Mayra Bueno Silva can. I don't think Holly Holmes, if she is in any danger on the ground, is going to be chasing Mayra Bueno Silva into her guard. So I think Holly Holm will push this up against the cage, win it there, land some shots at range as well. Mayra Bueno Silva has a decent front kick, but Holly Holm moves around on the outside quite a bit.
I'm going to have to agree with the MMA Guru here. I think Holly Holm, her fight experience, her IQ, and her overall size are going to present a lot of problems for Bueno Silva. Holly Holm is an OG in the game, man. She knows how to win fights, and her winning a decision seems like the likely outcome here. But if you want to put a flyer bet, Bueno Silva maybe by submission. But I'm not really looking. I might throw a small bet on the money line for Holly Holm is coming in at like minus 150. But let me know in the comments below if you guys like these type of videos. Me and the MMA Guru, we agreed on some fights, we disagreed on others. We'll see who comes out on top this week. But if you like these videos, leave me some messages in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys on the next fight. Peace.